You mean the address, right? Like 955 Clovis Street, right?
I put it in the.
It's called misleading the chat.
I put it in the telegram, so we're just taking the Ramadan.
We'll just do during the week because it's a lot easier. And then even like right now, I was sitting there, I was busy right now hadith because I'm like, I have like three separate books that I'm working on right now, like the marriage hadith book, and then I like what I'm doing is I'm compiling the 1,500, like I want to compile 1,500 hadiths for fiqh. Like I told Ibrahim, you didn't tell her, did you? But I'm gonna compile them like little by little. So, like Salat, book of Janaiz, book of Tahara, just and then we'll, eventually we'll just compile it into like one big book. So
and then get it published.
And then try to find some way to get it published only in Arabic.
Like that? Yeah, I know. I was saying they're gonna have a cover and stuff like that.
Yeah, get it published in Arabic and then have a translation in English. But that's the hadith book. All the other books like translation. But I want like that so the people can memorize it. Yeah. I get out. He can't come in.
Oh yeah, he does like.
Open up the window.
What? He doesn't like it.
Open up the window and he can listen from outside.
Just stand outside with no window.
Yeah, no, right here. I mean, we can open this window up and he can listen from outside, But it's gonna get kind of annoying because he's gonna be behind me. Like, I got a question. Is it okay if I have it sticks his head in the window?
Sheikh, I have a question. Closes the window.
Huh? What's that? شو؟ البرجرز هاكك. شو؟ ترتيب هاكك. هو هاكك أخي أنت تعمل معه ما تشاء. Yeah. He's gonna go. Y'all want to try the Virgils?
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. Like, to get a case of these.
No, he's gonna go. He said he'll give you his. He's got we got like one cola and one orange.
Have you tried the one?
Have
you tried the one?
Which one?
This one.
About to do it right now. Inshallah. That's it.
Oh, you're about to figure out why I call him succotash.
Succotash. Succotash. What is that?
Because that's his attack. He sucks. He sucks
Mhm.
on fingers.
You want to try some of this Japanese? Do you guys some more?
You can finish what's left in this one.
All right. They forgot about you, Esed. I'm so sorry.
They've only gave me 6 cups.
Okay, Say forgot about you. All right, I think we're going, right?
Yeah.
It's live, right? They just been listening to all of our. So like I said, like I told Ibrahim, I'm going to compile all the hadith regarding all the issues of Ramadan. I'm taking right now, my bed right now has like Bukhari, Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawud, all open on the bed with notebooks, pens. And so what I'm doing now is I'm gonna bring out all the hadith with the correct, the best narrations from the actual books of hadith. Next year, like I told him, inshallah, if we finish this Believer's Handbook book, I'm not gonna teach this ever again. All right, like if people want to read it, they can read it. But what we're gonna do is I'm only gonna be teaching the hadith, the hadith compilations only. So when I compile the hadiths, what I'll do is with each one, so I'll compile all the different hadiths regarding like zakat, all the authentic hadiths and all the most important narrations of. Right now, what I'm doing is the janaiz, like actually the funeral prayer. That's the one I'm working on right now. But I stopped doing it because I want to do all the ones on fasting. So that's the one. What I'm gonna do from next year, inshallah, if we're all alive for next Ramadan, is to I'm only gonna teach the hadith compilations. So I write like, for example, like I'll compile all the hadith regarding like janazah, and inshallah, if I have then I'll write out the book. And then those books will just be, for the people who just want to read. They don't want to study. And then the other books will be for the people who actually want to memorize all these hadith and study them. Because I mean, that's what I write them for. I don't write them just to, to like put them on the shelf and stare at them. Like they're meant to be memorized. So the first thing that we're going to focus on, inshallah, once we get all this stuff done, is the 100. No, this is natural.
Natural soda?
Yes.
Yes. There's no chemicals, no
artificial.
Yeah, it's all cane sugar for the, even the preservatives are like mushrooms or something, but like not mushrooms that make you hallucinate. So I'm sorry, Ibrahim. I know you probably were gonna get excited. Hey, if it happens by accident, like,
Sit back and enjoy,
yeah, sit back and enjoy, right? It's an accident. There's no beating yourself over the head with a shoe, right? All right, so we're on chapter 4, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So chapter 4, citing the new moon, al-hilal. All right, al-hilal obviously is referring to the new moon that you cite on the after the completion of the 29th day of Sha'ban. All right, so because we can't say it's the 30th night or the first night because we don't know. We don't know until we go out and sight the moon or not sight the moon. So this is done upon the completion of the 29th day. All right, the 29th day of Sha'ban. Because as we know Islamically, like right now, we are in what? Like today will be considered Laylatul Khamis. Today is like the night of like Thursday Eve, yeah. Because it's the night comes as soon as the sun sets, that's the end of that day. Then the night brings what? That's the next night. And then the next day, and then the day, yeah. So tomorrow's Yom al Khamis, tonight Laylatul Khamis.
Okay, so we're in Khamis right now.
Yeah, Laylatul Khamis. Yeah.
I have the calendar on my phone. It shows it, but it changes the number date according to like midnight.
Oh yeah, they do like a lot of the apps do that. They keep the old date until midnight.
Well, I mean that all that stuff comes from the kuffar, all this midnight stuff. I mean that's something that they made up, But if you go back and look, they call it Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, right? So they admit that so that's going back to the old style of how the night comes first and then the day comes next. Huh?
Today's the 10th. So today's the 10th, right?
Yeah. Is it?
Because it's past Maghrib.
Yeah, it's past Maghrib. So
it still says the 9th, but it'll change.
No, it's the 10th. It's the 10th night right now.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow will be the 10th day. So upon completion of the 29th day, then the Muslims go out to sight the moon. And then these are all the issues, inshallah, that we're going to deal with. So there's no point in giving like a long drawn out introduction because everything's here, inshallah. All right, so sighting the new moon, al-hilal. Issue number 1. When do we start the month of Ramadan and when do we finish? This issue seems to be of great importance in the West because a lot of confusion is caused each year around the starting and finishing of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ clearly stated, and this I've only seen this in America. The confusion comes where it's like you go like before I left America, there was like 3 Eids. One Eid, the people were fasting with the people who sighted the moon in Yemen. Another Eid, the people were fasting with the not sighting of the moon in Saudi. And the third Eid are the Shia. They just want to completely go against everybody else. If the Sunnis are, or I should say Sunnis, but if the people that they call Sunnis, because Sunni, it means what? A person who follows the Sunnah. That's Sunni, Salafi, whatever you want to call it. That's the same thing. Sunni, it means a person who follows the Sunnah. A Sufi does not follow the Sunnah. All right, so he's not a Sunni, but he's not Shi'i. So they consider anybody that's not, and they don't call them Sunnis. What do they call them? The Shia. What do they refer to people who aren't Shia?
Oh, Wahhabis.
No. That's like that's specifically for the people attack them and against their aqidah. The people of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah that they call them Wahhabis and Madkhalis. That's the Rafidis way of saying that these are students of knowledge and you should listen to them. So whenever you hear a Rafidi say this is a Wahhabi, this is a Madkhali, then what does that generally mean? Generally, I'm not saying all the time. It means the Shia are basically telling you, hey, you should listen to Nasbi. How did you know that? Wow.
I get into arguments with Shia a lot on there.
Oh, he's on the front line.
Why? Why? Oh, you're like on the front lines of the Dawah, arguing on Twitter.
It's therapeutic to yell at them.
Yeah, the Nawasib, the Nasibi. Because they consider the Nasibi anybody who hates Ahl. So if you hate Ahl al-Bayt, they just khalas, they consider you a kafir. And in Yemen, they don't call you Wahhabi. So it differs from different place to place. So if you hear like the Houthis, they say ad-Dawa'ish, 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 saying Daesh, they're talking about Sheikh Yahya and the students of Sheikh Yahya. Because they refer to Daesh, they call you Daesh. Sardi, they say Amriki. Hawalai American. That's referring to what? Saudi Arabia. So they have different terminologies. You have to understand. Like when the Shia they got mental disorders, so they confuse reality a lot in Allah Musta'an. And this is like we talked about before, this is the general thing with people who are on batil. The only way that they can continue to support their batil is to call the people to emotional reactions. And that's what they do by insulting people and putting people down. All they're doing is they're going to the lowest level of dawah, like the low. This is not even dawah. I mean, this is dawah, but it's like dawah to shaytaniyah al-iblisiyah, So it's not real dawah, because obviously, if you have the truth, you come with the truth. That's it. You have the Quran and the Sunnah, and it supports what you're calling the people to. That's what you call the people to. You don't have to call people names. You don't have to, put people down. All you got to do, wallahi, I can sit there and call these guys all type of farm animals. But what's the thing that really gets them the most? When you use an ayah or a hadith against them. It just like wallahi, akhi, they start their menstrual cycle on the spot. On the spot, akhi. On the spot. You understand? So Allahu musta'an. But anyways, I digress. So this is back to this. All right, so the Prophet ﷺ clearly stated when Ramadan starts and when it finishes in the hadith that is in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. حدثنا يحيى بن بكير قال حدثني الليث عن عقيل عن ابن شهاب قال أخبرني سالم أن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا فإن غم عليكم فاقدروا له. وقال غيره عن الليث حدثني عقيل ويونس لهلال رمضان. So here we have Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma. He said that I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, if you see it, the al-hilal, fasumu, then fast. وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَمُوهُ, and if you see it, the hilal, فَأَفْطِرُوا, then break your fast. فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ, and if there's any clouds in the sky, anything, فَأَقْدُرُوا لَهُ, then add that and count that as what? Either the 30th, if it's obviously if we're going out after the 20th and 29th day of Sha'ban, then it will be considered the 30th night of Sha'ban if there's clouds. If we were going out on the 20th after the completion of the 20th day of Ramadan, then we see clouds and it's cloudy, then we would consider the next. Yes. All right, so we don't leave off anything with doubt because there's doubt, so we don't worship on doubt. It is clear from the hadith that we begin with the sighting of the new moon. If we are unable to see the new moon due to clouds, we count the next day as being the 30th day of Sha'ban with doubt due to the clouds. This day is referred to as the day of doubt, and it is not permissible to fast this day as was seen in the previous chapter. However, if there are no clouds and the new moon was not spotted, we consider the next day the 30th day of Sha'ban without any doubt, because again, we didn't cite it. So let's say that we have these committees We're in California. You have brothers from Southern California to Central Valley to Northern California, and each one has a committee. Then you have the brothers like in Portland, Oregon, committee. Then you got the brothers up in Seattle, Spokane, or wherever in Washington, and they have a committee. And we all go out the site to move. All right. None of us see it. Maybe like Washington's gonna be cloudy, right? Washington's always gonna be cloudy. Central Valley might be yes, might be no. Depends on the time of the year, right? If it's in the summertime, it's never cloudy. You know, very rarely cloudy in the summertime. If it's in the wintertime, yeah, you're not seeing your neighbor's house, basically. So you can't spot your neighbor's house, much less the hill out. All right. But Southern California, on the other hand, will be a lot different. Maybe Portland. Portland's kind of like Washington, right? So cloudy all the time. Huh? Yeah. During the wintertime or all year. All right. So we can't rely on the people from Portland, Oregon. But the point is like, you know, we got like a lot of the California areas mostly during the year, depending on the time of the year, not cloudy. And if none of us cite it and we were able to cite it, then we can all agree that what? That's the 30th of us. I mean, there's no doubt because y'all tried, we tried, and we can call brothers in Texas. And Texas also most of the year is not what? Not cloudy. I mean, wintertime is different. Like as Ramadan starts to move more towards the winter, then you can start to expect a lot of not being able to sight the moons because of what? Because of the clouds. So I mean, the years that it was in the summer, you notice like the sun, the moon, the hilal was observed because like Sardiya, yeah, you don't same thing. You don't see a cloud for months. You know, once it starts to hit 100 degrees, like around March, April, that's it. You know, you're not going to start seeing a cloud until it stops being 100 degrees again in like October, November. So it's just going to be 100, 110, 115 every day. No clouds, nothing. Just a beam of sun on you, huh?
So like for us, just general people, should we just go look for ourselves?
Oh, we're going to get to that, inshallah. We're going to cover all those issues, inshallah. All right. So we do not start the fast unless the moon is sighted. We do not fast based on calculations or anything of that nature. We only begin fasting Ramadan at the sighting of the new moon. Understand? And anybody that says otherwise, you know, we don't know none of these scientific calculations. They did these scientific calculations, and now you got everybody praying to the northwest right now. Every single masjid in Fresno is praying to the northwest right now, based off of their scientific calculations. And you look at a map and you're like, what? So we're praying to Iceland? Like, you know, it's like, yeah. Huh? Yeah. And what did you see?
It's like southeast.
What southeast? Yeah. It's slightly southeast.
Yeah, it's more south.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I told you, Florida, I remember this from when I was a kid. They did a National Geographic thing on the St. Johns River in Jacksonville, Florida, because the St. Johns River flows north. All right. And it's exactly on line with the Nile River that also flows what? North. So the St. Johns River in Jacksonville is on the same line as what? The Nile. Do the people in Egypt pray to the northwest? Or northeast, sorry. Northeast. Did I say northwest the first time? Yeah. I meant northeast. But did they pray to the northeast or did they pray slightly what? Southeast. So in Jacksonville, we used to just pray straight to the east. Because I knew from this time that the Nile is on the same thing. It's on the same. These are the scientists that said that. So what scientific calculations are y'all coming up with? So yeah, so now we're praying to Greenland and stuff like that. Well, actually, we're probably praying to Mars. You know Mars, right?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, you gotta be real. You gotta be real smart to catch that one, huh? Or not real smart, really informed, huh?
Can we say the calculations are bid'ah? Can we classify that?
What type of calculations are you talking about?
Like the calculations from the moon sighting?
Oh yeah, that's bid'ah, yeah. Because we're taking from what? We're taking from the kuffar. They're not doing these calculations on their own. They're taking it based on If you look in any newspaper, if you look at the Weather Channel or anything, they give you the stages of the moon. That's what they're following. These are what the kuffar say. No, we don't. No, so, we don't take from that ever. Go out and we cite it, and that's what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. إذا رأيتموه فصوموا وإذا رأيتموه فأفطروا. If you see it, not if you calculate it or you think about it or do some mathematical equation. No. So Allahumma musta'an. All right, so we do not start the fast unless the moon is sighted. We do not fast based on calculations or anything of that nature. We only begin fasting Ramadan at the sighting of the new moon. The understanding is the same in relation to breaking the fast. Moreover, it is permissible to use whatever means at your disposal to sight the moon, such as binoculars, a telescope, etc. Anything that assists you to sight the new moon is allowed. So yeah, we wouldn't say like using binoculars is a bid'ah, using a telescope. No, because these are means of actually what? Sighting it, still seeing it. So whatever assists you in that regards, then they use it. You know, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So use it. You know, if you can get up on a Hubble telescope and try to, I don't know if like that will work. Where is the Hubble telescope? That's a satellite, ain't it?
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna sight the new moon in a pool. But anyway, so
That's a good one.
yeah, I know. I'm like I'm on a roll tonight, aren't I?
I didn't hear that.
I said you're not gonna be able to sight the new moon in a pool.
Satellite.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. This is gonna be like conspiracy theory 101. All right. So, anyways, each area should have a council of people to go out and try to sight the moon. If the moon is spotted in one area of America, such as New York, we would fast once we are sure they sighted the new moon. If we have these councils in each state, we will not have to rely on other countries to inform us when Ramadan begins, and that's the reality. You know, we're grateful for all the khidmah that Saudiya does, but yeah, we're Muslims. We live in the West. We live. It's our responsibility. It's not, Saudi. They go out and sight the moon, but we should also be doing the same thing. This is the deen that we're supposed to be practicing. And in fact, here we have the best means. A little bit difficult right now, though, because of the time of year. But other times we have like Yosemite, and like not just Yosemite, these mountains. We could literally go up these mountains and be way above the clouds, and then that's it. There's not going to be an issue, inshallah. But like I said, like right now it's kind of difficult because of the snow, and the icy. To get way up on the top of those mountains, up on those mountains right now, it's going to be. I don't know what's the conditions now.
No, it's not that bad now. When I got my Camry, I had to drive it 200 miles because I replaced the fuel pump. So I drove it up there, and it was
You drove up the mountains and didn't even talk to us, man.
It was there and back. Like,
We would have gone just there and back, man. Huh? Yeah, almost done. Get out of it. Go. You need to go sit at the window now. Like serious, man. That's some of the most beautiful. Yeah. Just to get out of Fresno, even if it's like, oh, there's the mountains. Let's go back to Fresno.
I just went.
There's a crackhead. But
I just went up to like some middle of nowhere town up there, and then I just turned back.
Oh, did you go where the snow's at, or no? You just.
Oh no, I didn't go where the snow's at.
That's what I'm saying. You talking about going up?
Oh no, yeah.
I'm talking about going up, where you're winding. You're going up to like those big redwood trees way up there.
Oh yeah.
Like right now, that's all snow capped right now. So
yeah, I just went up to 160.
Okay, yeah, that would have been a boring trip. I mean, the only fun that you would have gotten out of there maybe like stopping at a gas station to get a Pepsi or something. Yeah, that would have been like the highlight of the journey. All right, kids, we're gonna take a bathroom break. Go in there and spend all your money. All right, now so issue number 2. If the new moon is sighted in another country, do we have to fast based on their sighting? Good question, right? Good question. Do we have to fast? All right, this issue is where we have a lot of problems in the West. Do we fast with Saudi? Do we fast with Morocco? Do we fast with Yemen? Again, we should have our own councils for sighting the moon set up in each state, and we would not have this issue. However, since we do have this issue, let's deal with it. We are going to break this issue up into the 3 strongest opinions and they are the following. Number one, if one country sights the new moon, everybody has to fast. Two, if one country sights the new moon, everybody in the same time zone has to fast. And it's not the time zone. I use the word time zone that the ulama use. They use the terminology of the matla al-qamar. Like you're all on the same line of where the moon, appears. So that, which is basically the same time zone. All right, because here obviously the sun has to set for the moon to what? Well, to appear, because the moon is always there. It doesn't go anywhere. As you can see on a very cloudy day, you can see the moon in the sky. So the moon's just not there. You can't see it because obviously the sun. So when the sun goes down, then you see it. It's there. All right. So, but in that case, yeah. So it's the same time zone is basically still the same meaning. All right. Number three, if one country sights the new moon, everybody in that country has to fast. Not the people in other countries unless they sight the new moon. And yeah. So we got three opinions, right? So again, the first opinion will be in Saudi Arabia saying we saw the new moon, and everybody says. The second case would be Saudi Arabia saying we sighted the new moon, and Yemen, Saudi, Jordan, and all those countries that are all in that line, they'll fast. Yeah, but that's not incumbent upon the other countries to fast with them, unless they sighted the new moon. And in the third scenario, if Saudi sights the new moon, it's only incumbent upon their citizens. All right. Which, I mean, this is the case right now because we don't have an imam, right? We don't there's not an imam, I should say an emir. We don't have an Islamic dola, right? So so we don't have like one person who's ruling over all the Muslim countries. If that was the case, if he said tomorrow's Ramadan, everybody's what? Fasting. Khalas, game over. But now because we're broken up into these duwailats, these like little small cutout, countries, now we have these types of issues. And the reality is, regardless of whatever the issue is and whatever the answer is, people are not going to, the nationalism is always generally going to be the thing that takes precedence over the deen. And that's just the reality. So, and then some people, they're batil, their following of misguidance will take precedence over. So we're never going to agree on this. All right. So for us, the easiest thing to answer this question is, if we're not going to go out and try to sight the moon for ourselves to get away from all this disagreement, is to do what? And look at the country with the best track record and that has been doing this for the longest, and just follow them. Just like I mentioned before, when we talk about the ilm al-hadith, you don't have the ability to go and research the chains of narration for yourself. What do? You find a sheikh or a scholar with what? An alim of hadith that has a good track record, who's known for having the strongest. So when we look at that, obviously, a lot of people will say, oh, they're just going to say Saudi. But no, it's just the reality that Saudi has the best track record as far as what? As far as like sighting the moon, they have the so it's just the easiest thing to follow what they say, and Allah Muslim. But of course, again, a lot of people are gonna have a lot to say about that. Oh, he's getting paid by Saudi. Oh, he's like these Khawarij and these Rafidis, they want to say anything. They used to say all that garbage until they found, they were saying that in the beginning until dude, I'm banned from Saudi Arabia. Like kicked out and banned from Saudi Arabia from living there illegally. So if there's one person, I'm going to speak the truth in regards to that. No, they have the best track record. And, you find a lot more comfort when you hear like Saudi sighted the new moon. I don't know. It just feels like more authentic. No disrespect to Morocco. Alhamdulillah, I've, studied in Damaj with a bunch of, not a bunch, but quite a few good Moroccan brothers. But if Morocco says we sighted the new moon, I'll be like, I don't know about that one. You know what I'm saying? So, because again, it's not something that we don't, nobody's like, oh, what did Morocco say? Everybody's going to go online and look for what? What does Saudi say? So, because they have the best track record. They're trusted in the Muslim world. So khalas, that's what we take. I mean, that's the easiest thing to end all the issues, right? The proponent, and that's not saying that, I mean, they've been wrong in the past. So again, it's not saying that they don't make mistakes. Everybody's going to make mistakes. But what's the difference between a person like a very trustworthy person and a person who's not trustworthy is what? And the number of mistakes that they make are what? Very, very few. No, very few. So last year, I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, last year or the year before, Morocco was fasting on a whole different day than Saudi. And Saudi sighted the moon. The brothers even sent me photos from Yemen that they sighted the moon, and Morocco still fasted the next day. They said we're going to fast the next day. So again, you look at the different things. A photo from Jacksonville. He cited that it took a picture of the new moon. There it is. Saudi saw it and we saw it, but still they still fasted. They said, no, we're not fasting. With Saudi, we're going to fast the next day. So all this type of foolishness now, we don't take part in this. The people, if you have a trustworthy person who said that they sighted the moon, halas, game over. That's it. Now the issue comes up of what if it's cloudy in Saudi? Saudi doesn't sight the moon because they can't, because it's cloudy. They have their committees. But we go out and we try to sight the moon and we sight the moon. So what do? We fast. Because we saw it. We're obeying the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're not going to say, well, Saudi didn't sight the new moon. Maybe we're wrong. No, that's not. We're not going like that. If they didn't sight the moon, but we sighted the moon, we're going to fast with what we sighted. That's it. If other people don't want to do that, that's their business. But no, that's again, we follow the hadith in this regard. But if we don't have these committees, we're not going out to see it. We have to take the most trustworthy people. The proponents for each opinion have their evidence to support their opinion, but the stronger opinion is the first one, being that we do not have any system for sighting the new moon in place in America. And I'm not saying that people don't go out and sight it, but I'm just saying we don't have a system. We're not all working together in this. Like, you have little committees that go out and do this, but it's not a system. Like, we don't have, because obviously America is Allah. Like, America is a place where you can see all 73 sects of Islam in one masjid. Literally in one masjid. Not like, not in all of America. Like, you can go to an Islamic center and see everybody there, like, what I'm saying? So go to New York, in one masjid, you can see 73 sects. You might see the 73 sects of the Muslims, the 71 sects of the Jews spying on the Muslims, the 72 sects of the Christians also spying. Yeah, so it's like, so Allah musta'an, you will see everything in America. So we're not gonna agree on this issue. We're not, because again, if you look at the people who really are in the authority as far as Muslims are concerned in America, these people hate Islam. The people that are really, you're talking about these suit and tie wearing dudes that are the heads of all these organizations, they hate Islam. They hate the Sunnah, and all they want to do is they want to be accepted amongst the American white person. That's it. That's their goal. Like, let me be accepted amongst the white people, and I've achieved my goal in life. So we don't follow this. So we're not going to get along. We're not going to come to an agreement. We can establish that right now. Not with all these running around, everybody vying for power. We're not vying for power. We're vying for what? The truth, Akhi. We want to come to the truth. Like, what is the most proper way now that we're going to practice this deen? We're going to be in America trying to practice this deen. We need to practice it properly, and without all this type of watering it down, and that you see going on with all these different groups. So we're not going to agree. So again, there's probably never going to be a system set up in America, not probably in our lifetimes. So again, us, we look at the most trustworthy people. That's what we follow, until we can get our act together, inshallah. All right. So the proponents of each opinion have their evidence to support their opinion, but the stronger opinion is the first one, being that we do not have any system for sighting the new moon in place in America. We have no choice but to rely on other countries to sight the moon. We try to take from the sources that we trust and avoid countries that have a track record of making mistakes in the moon sighting. Saudi Arabia and the other countries in the Arabian Peninsula have the strongest systems in place for sighting the moon. I mean, they've been doing it since the beginning of that. So and those are the countries that I feel comfortable following in this issue. Allah knows best. However, if Saudi Arabia does not sight the new moon, and we were to sight the moon in America, we begin fasting for Ramadan. If the moon has been sighted by a trustworthy source, we begin fasting the next day, whether they fast in Saudi Arabia or not. The hadith of Ibn Umar is very clear, and if we see the new moon, we fast. Clear. That issue, clear. All right. All right. Any questions on that one? On that issue alone? Chad has any questions? No. Hamid can tell you some stories. Brooklyn, New York.
Other 72 sex.
Oh my God. You got 70. The ones that try, like the 73 sex, and the ones that pretend to be, but they're not from the 73. They're outside of the 73, but they try to act like they're from the 73. You got so much chaos, Akhi. So much chaos. All right, issue number 3. How many witnesses are necessary for the sighting of the new moon? Without reading, what's the answer? How many witnesses are necessary? Who?
One.
What's your evidence?
I don't know.
I forgot you were gonna ask that question.
Huh? What? What did you say? Did you have a hiccup? He said, hiccup is name. What was that? Did you say his name? But then when I said, what's your evidence? Then you kind of like kind of disappeared and your voice disappeared. And all right, don't worry. We'll find out now, inshallah. Issue number 3, how many witnesses are necessary for the sighting of the new moon? This is another issue that has been up for debate among the scholars. Similar to the last issue, this issue is broken up into 3 strong opinions. The 3 opinions are the following. Interesting. The following, there should be a colon after the following. Colon, the 2 dots. Yeah, but it's not. It got deleted. One witness is enough for the beginning and ending of Ramadan. Number 2 witnesses for the starting and finishing of Ramadan. Number 3, 1 witness is enough, but we need 2 witnesses for the ending of Ramadan. All right. The first opinion was, you can almost look at these opinions and tell which madhab follows each one, but we're not here to anger people right now. All right, the group that takes the first opinion apply the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, in which he said, ترى الناس الهلال فأخبرت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أني رأيته فصام وأمر الناس بصيامه رواه أبو داود. So this is a hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar. This is in Sunan Abi Dawud. In fact, this is right now. It's open on. Said I have Bukhari and Muslim and Sunan Abi Dawud open on my bed right now. This hadith is open right now on the bed. So yes. So he said that the people went out to go see the hilal to see if the new moon was going to be sighted, and he said, I informed the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I saw it. So he fasted and he commanded the people to fast. All right. So obviously Abdullah ibn Umar is what? One person. All right. All right. The group that takes the second opinion. So that's the evidence for the first opinion. The group that takes the second opinion used the hadith narrated by Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn al-Khattab أنه كان يخطب الناس في اليوم الذي يشك فيه فقال ألا إني جلست أصحاب الرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وسألتهم وإنهم حدثوني أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال صوموا لرؤيته وأفطروا لرؤيته واسكوا لها فإن غم عليكم فاكملوا 30 فإن شهد شاهدان فصوموا وأفطروا أخرجوا النسائي. So here this narration from Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn al-Khattab, he said that he was speaking to the people, كان يخطب الناس on the day of doubt. All right, and then he said that verily I sat with the companions of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وسألتهم, and I asked them, and they informed me that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, fast if you see it, the new moon, and break your fast if you see it. And if clouds prevent you from, that you see it, then complete the month of Sha'ban is 30 days. If two witnesses give their testimony, then sumu wa aftiru, then fast and break your fast. All right. So this is the opinion that you have. First opinion. The first opinion, 1-1. All right. One witness, period.
So
One reliable sahibul adala. Not just any witness, not like, okay, a dude who says I'm a Muslim and he smokes weed and fornicates with women and he's known for doing just all types of fawahish. No, we don't accept. I don't care if he saw the moon 1,000 times. Even if he took a picture of it and said, look, I have a picture, we will not accept the picture because why? Could be AI, could be something that he took off the internet. We don't know. We can't trust him. Can't trust him because he's an immoral degenerate. And we don't take any information from people who are not, they're not ashab al-adala. If you wouldn't trust your family with a person, how are you going to trust your deen with a person? Could you imagine taking some degenerate like that, smoking weed and acting like a gangster and doing all this type of stuff, and you say, hey, you know what, come over to my house and babysit my children? Huh? Would you do something like that? You wouldn't trust them with your children. Would you people be like, man, what are you smoking? You letting that dude watch your children? But you don't even, because he's start getting ready to calculate. I thought you were about to get ready to do your crackhead counter. That don't count. That don't count. That's hikayah. That's me telling you that you have a crackhead counter. I didn't actually say, all right. But if you're not going to trust them with your children, why would you trust them with your deen? That doesn't make sense. I mean, come on. So the same thing. If this person comes and he comes with a video or a picture, now we reject that. We reject that. So the person has to be one person, has to be what? Trustworthy. Sahib al-adala. He's known for deen. He's known for being upright. He's known for being honest. And the same thing for the two witnesses. You need to say something?
Yeah. So
grab me some water, please.
If you go sight the moon and you have a witness, can the person who sights it himself be considered a witness? Or he needs to have somebody else that's not him that's
He needs somebody else that's not him. Yeah. That's what we should do every day, right? Because now everybody's sitting on the floor now, so.
Like if there's one person, basically, can a witness be the same person who sighted the moon? But no, it can't. It has to be a separate person.
No, it's not a witness. It's a shahid. Like you have two people that cited it, and two people can say we both cited it, because in their this is the evidence that they use. They actually have a hadith, which we're going to deal with in a second, inshallah. But they're looking at it from the perspective of one person. Hey, maybe you thought you saw it. Maybe you wanted to see it so bad that you thought you saw it. But with two people, if they see it, then it's like, and obviously the more people that you have to see it, then the stronger that you have, the better you feel about it. I mean, if one trustworthy person who's like a person of deen, and we know that he knows what he's doing, he tells me I sighted the moon, I'll feel comfortable accepting his shahada, right? But if two people of the same, character come up and say we both sighted the new moon, you feel even more comfortable. Three people come and say what? We all cited it. Then you're like, well, this can't be wrong, So, but that's the way they're looking at it, huh?
It's not like two people cited it, but they're not that trustworthy. Or three people cited it, they're not that trustworthy.
No, it doesn't matter. If they're not trustworthy, they don't have the condition of adala, which means they're not righteous people. These are people that are listening to music. They got the, just all types of fawda. And they don't necessarily have to be doing drugs. If they're doing drugs and smoking weed and stuff, they're out of the picture, period, because they're doing things that affect the state of their mind. So that doesn't matter if it's 1,000 of them. If they're up there smoking blunts and sitting there talking about we saw the new moon, and then khalas, I mean, 1,000 people will reject all 1,000. We're not fasting with that type of chaos,
So the unicorns.
There's a reason you saw it.
Yeah, and then we went to Krispy Kremes. No, we're not doing that. Or Taco Bell or something. No.
Saw 5 new
moons.
We saw 5 of them, man. A new moon every 10 minutes. You know? No.
Oh, you see that one? Oh, you see that one?
No, that's gone. All right, so dealing with this hadith, the issue with using this hadith as evidence is that it is a weak hadith. There's a narration from Abdullah ibn Umar and Sunan Abi Dawood that is authentic, that supports this narration and gives it validity. Therefore, the narration is accepted from a lot of the scholars of hadith. As for the group, the issue is with the shahidan, because that didn't come. All right, so again, so the hadith, like again, a lot of you got people from the Ahl al-Hadith, they reject this hadith. They reject it. They say that the hadith is da'if. All right, so that's does away with that issue right away. As for the third group, they use the following hadith from Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhum. أنه let me see. All right. أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم أجاز خبر واحد على هلال رمضان وكان لا يجيز شهادة رجلين. And he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, permitted the sighting of the new moon from one person for the start of Ramadan, but he did not permit the ending of Ramadan except for from 2 witnesses. This hadith is not authentic, as was stated by Al-Amir al-Sanani in his book Subul al-Salam, due to the main narrator of the hadith being Hafs ibn Umar al-Aili, and his hadith is not accepted. And the same source, Al-Amir al-Sanani, stated the strongest 2 hadiths on this issue clearly show that 1 witness is enough for the beginning of Ramadan and the ending of Ramadan. That is the opinion I choose to take. Some people might say they take the opinion of 2 witnesses because it is safer. However, and again, we can understand the person saying it's safer. But if you have one person who's known as being a righteous person, there's no issues with his eyesight. So it's not like, okay, he wears glasses and that day he forgot his glasses. You know, if there's some issues like that, then okay, we can say, who else saw it with you? You know, to be, you know, on the safe side, because like, I don't know, like Yahya, he wears glasses, right? So how is your vision if you don't have glasses? The new moon is very thin, and it only comes out for a small period of time. So I mean, then we start to be kind of questioning. It's not that we're going to question Yahya, we're not questioning his character, but we're questioning like, okay, did you really see it? Because you know you didn't have your glasses, and he's like, no, I saw it. I saw it. I know what I saw, but we don't. You know, at this we have a little bit of doubt. So it'd be better if he had like another person with him that saw it. You know, but and 1 witness is enough.
So if someone's alone and they see the moon, that's enough.
Yeah.
Or they need to have 1 witness that's not them.
It's sufficient for 1 person to sight the moon. Okay. Yeah. Based off the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, the first hadith that we read, that's in Sunan Abi Dawud. That's the strongest hadith in this issue. All right, so what did I say? Safer at? Where did I stop it?
Prayer.
However, we accept the witness of 1 individual for every prayer when he calls us to prayer, and we have no issue with that. The mu'adhan, does he have a witness to say? Because you gotta understand, what's the difference between the mu'adhan and the person who said that they sighted the new moon? What's the difference between them? Really, when you think about it, nothing. What's the mu'adhan's like the real mu'adhan? I'm not talking about these guys that follow the timetable from you know, some Islamic website on Google. I'm talking about the real mu'adhan that knows the sun, the movement of the sun, and he looks and says, right now is the correct time to pray. How many people do we accept that from? 1 person. He calls the people to the, you know, he calls the people, 1 person, and we accept that, and that's salat. The first thing that you're going to be held accountable for on the day of judgment is your salat, right? And, you know, obviously the first thing that the people are going to have to deal with is what? A dimat. But the first thing that you as a person are going to be held accountable for yourself is what? Your prayer. But you trust that 1 person, right? So how does it become an issue now if this person says, I sighted the new moon? But and you go to the masjid every single day and you pray when this mu'adhan says now is the time for prayer. What's the difference? And the difference is that you're trusting this man 5 times a day, every single day. You understand? This guy, you're only trusting him 1 time a year. You know, it's like, you know, so and you have more trust for the mu'adhan? No, I mean, so again, the mu'adhan, if he calls the adhan and it's not the time for prayer, and then your prayer is invalid. If he makes a mistake and calls the adhan for Fajr too early and the people pray too early, then guess what? Salat's invalid. But you trust him, right? So, however, we accept the witness of one individual for every prayer when he calls us to prayer, and we have no issue with that. Therefore, with the authentic narrations showing one is sufficient, I will accept that opinion as being the stronger of the three. Allah knows best. Do we have time to read one more issue or what? This is a long chapter. Well, it's not that long. We'll read one more issue and then we'll finish up the rest in the next live stream, inshallah. Issue number 4. What are the characteristics of the person that sights the new moon? Ooh, this should actually come first. I should have put this one before the sighting because the character of the person obviously is, that's the first thing we need to deal with. Yeah, but alhamdulillah, I'm not changing this book just because of that. All right, the person that claims to have seen the new moon has to be a person who is upright and righteous in his religion. He cannot be known to be a person that lies or commits sins openly. If he is not upright in his religion, for example, a person with a shaved beard and pants dragging on the ground comes to us and says that he sighted the new moon, we will not accept his testimony for the sighting of the moon. If a person who is known to hang out in coffee shops with different girls says that he sighted the moon, we will not accept it from him. If a person who is known to be a person of innovation and he calls to that innovation, we will not accept his testimony. We only, because obviously the person who innovates is worse than the other people. The guy hanging out in the coffee shop with the girls, better than the innovator. If he's a Muslim, prays 5 times a day, realizes that he's doing haram, he's better than the innovator. And the person who's, the whatever, any sinful person, just a sinful Muslim, is better than the innovator. So if we're going to reject the testimony of Mr. Blunt Smoker, then we're going to, reject the testimony of the innovator first before we reject the testimony, because that blunt smoker might be the most honest dude that you meet. Now, how many people have we known that drink and smoke? I've met crackheads, Akhi, that are honest. Hey, no, I'm talking about a real crackhead, though. I'm not. That doesn't count, Akhi. Come on, man. I was talking about a real crackhead. I wasn't calling somebody a crackhead. I don't know meth heads, Akhi. When I left America, like the only people that smoked crystal meth are people that lived in trailer parks in parts unknown, Akhi. I didn't, it wasn't a common thing when I was in America. I never in my whole entire life seen crystal meth. Never. I don't even know what it looks like. If you put it right here in front of me, I'd be like, what is that? So I can't talk about meth heads because I don't know them, but I do know crackheads. My neighborhood was full of them. My father was one, my stepfather was one, so I can talk about some crackheads. Huh? What about Timmy? Who's Timmy? His name wasn't Timmy.
The guy that you would go talk to.
What are you talking about?
When you said that, like when you were sad, you'd go talk to this crackhead.
You talking about my neighbor?
I don't know. You said you go sit with him and talk to him.
You talking about my neighbor?
What was his name?
I can't remember. What did I write in the book?
Yeah,
I probably just wrote some fake name in the book. I can't remember his name.
Timmy or Jimmy or Bimmy or something.
I had a neighbor. All right. He was a crackhead and he had a daughter that looked like a young Halle Berry. Yes. Well, that's good for you, and don't even go find out. And I was like, how did she come from that? And I used to ask him, like, can you explain this, please? What did you do right in your life? But that's what you're talking about.
You posted about it in your Telegram before. Like maybe it was a Carl or something. There was this crackhead that you go talk to.
Not Carl. Carl was my closest friend. That was the one I did the shooting with. He's dead, though.
Like you said, there would be like a crackhead that you would go talk to, and like you would like, where you felt bad about your life, you'd go look at him and talk to him, and then you'd be like, okay, well, my life's not that bad because look at this guy. That's
probably my neighbor. I don't know. Bring up the post, inshallah. Every time I used to just like get stressed out, because at that time, that was a bad time, man. The police, everybody was like, we had an undercover guy patrolling the apartment complex for me. So I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. Every time I walked out of my house, they came behind me. So I used to just go hang out with the crackhead, just to like chill, because he was just stupid. He was so funny, like the stuff that he said. And then his daughter will come home from work and I'll be like, come on, man, explain this, please, man. You know, like this is, you got to have an excuse for this. Like, this is like, is she adopted? Just tell me she's adopted. Like, because he was like, you know, missing teeth. Like, he was a proper crackhead. Akhi. You know, don't look this stuff up on the internet. Are you trying to find a post or what?
Where's the post, Shalom?
Akhi, I had like, so every neighbor that I had was a crackhead. Everyone. So I don't like, everywhere I lived, growing up was a crackhead. So I don't, alhamdulillah. The only person that was not a crackhead out of the people I was raised around, like directly, my mother and my sister. That's it. But my mother almost married a crackhead. So, well, she did actually, my father. So, so my father was one of those crackheads I used to go to talk to a lot. So I don't know which one you're talking about. I can't remember that guy's name though. I don't know. Huh? Where do we stop at? All right, let's just start over again. I know. Okay, yeah, we're talking about like but that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, all right, the whole point of coming up with this whole crackhead talk is that, you know, I have met some crackheads that are real honest people. They're real truthful. But when it comes to my deen, I'm not taking, even if I trust him with, you know, maybe like he says, well, this happened or this didn't happen, I might trust him. But if he said that he saw the new moon, this is deen. I'm not, you know, I don't care if like this crackhead is the nicest, coolest, and you know, even even in Los Angeles, we had a brother's a crackhead. He used to pray almost every salat in the masjid, and he's a crackhead, but still, this is deen, you know. So the deen, it takes precedence over your feelings towards a person. No, we're not gonna take his shahada is maraduda. It's rejected outright. Khalas. You know, so if that person, we're gonna reject that one. And wallahi, I think honestly, a crackhead smoking crack and trying to sight the new moon, he might see beyond. You know, he might see the new moon in 3D. You know, so it's raining new moons. so along with that, I might trust him more than an innovator. Wallahi, I do trust a crackhead more than an innovator because a crackhead lies about dunya. Innovator lies about the deen. I don't have no patience for a person that lies in this deen. Oh, they will. A lot of those dudes are like highly intelligent. Highly. I remember Abu Zainab. He told me he read a hadith to his crackhead roommate. Abu Zainab was a student of knowledge in Damascus from a long time, from way back in the days of Sheikh Mubin rahimahullah. And then he told me, he said one day he read the hadith about the rock falling for 70 years. And it finally hit the bottom. And he left and came back. And he said when he came back home, he said the crackhead roommate of his, he had papers all over the table. And he said, guess what? He said, we jahannamists. He said, I've been doing all the calculations and all math problems. He had it all written out. He said that based on what you said in the hadith and the trajectory of the rock falling down, and you know, and it was all papers of math. he said, this is how deep it is. I'm like, so yeah, man, you got some intelligent dudes, too intelligent. That's why they became drug addicts, man.
Willie.
Huh?
Willie.
I think that was just a name. I know, actually, I think that was his name, Willie. That's my crackhead neighbor in the apartment complex. Yeah, that was the one that had the daughter. Yeah, that's Willie. Yeah. Huh?
Billy Wilson.
Nah, I don't know what his last name was. Barely remember his first name.
Billy Wilhelm.
Huh?
Billy Wilhelm.
I'll tell you a funny story about Willie after the live stream, though. Because Willie would never shut up. So I came up with a plan to get Willie to shut up one day. Well, I'll tell you that one outside of the live stream, inshallah. All right. So, yeah, man, almost done. We only accept the testimony of a person that is upright in his religion if he claims to have seen the new moon. Some of the ulama have also added that the person has to be known to have strong eyesight. This is obvious because if he is known to be a person of weak vision, how can we be sure that he truly sighted the new moon? Yeah, I mean, anything that would be an issue with his, I guess you could say his shahada being accepted, his what? Not his perception, like his whole, I'm trying to find the right word I'm looking for in English. But I mean, just his whole anything that would be like a a naqs, like a deficiency in his shahada, in his bearing his testimony, and then that has to be taken into account. If he has weak vision, maybe he was very sick, maybe he's a person who I don't know, maybe he looks at screens too much. So you get blurry vision if you look at screens too much. So I mean, you gotta look at a lot of different factors, inshallah, not just his trustworthiness too. But that's the main issue. The main issue is that the person has to be trustworthy, huh?
This is kind of unrelated, but it's just like over the whole thing. If calculations are being used by the community, should we still follow what the
No,
community did?
no, you don't follow what they do. Now the issue is like, for example, let's say that you come from a community that follows calculations, and Saudi says, okay, we sighted the new moon tonight, but based on their calculations is they're not going to fast until the next day. All right. So that means that they're going to be doing Eid like what? 1 day late. So the issue with that is you fast based on what you trust. You don't trust their calculations. We don't, that's done. Saudi said they decided the new moon. We trust them. So we're going to fast. We're going to start fasting the very next day. Now the issue comes up when we have to celebrate Eid though. Man, why don't y'all buy this cat like a little baby bottle? I think this cat will be so happy. Because he's not going to grow up. He's not maturing, man. He's now 17 years old, and he's a
high school graduate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he graduated class of 2026, and he's still doing this stuff. It's just not going to change, man. It's not going to change. But yeah, did I answer your question fully?
You're saying about when it comes to Eid?
Yeah, when it comes to the Eid, I mean, you're just going to celebrate the Eid with the people. Obviously, you can't just go out and celebrate Eid with like 3 or 5 people. I'm talking about like the whole community is going to follow this calculation. So that means everybody celebrating Eid. So the issue what I had with the brother that was in Maghrib, when he called me and he said, well, we're fasting. We're not having the Eid until the day after Saudi Arabia. I said, khalas, man. Go to the Eid with the people.
It's like a day before. Like, let's say that since they're doing calculations, they're doing it a day before.
Nah, but in the day before, you're fasting on that day.
So you don't go out for Eid?
Nah. Because you can't. You're fasting. I mean, that's Ramadan for you. So you're no. I mean, fasting, like praying it like a day late, one thing. Praying it too early when it's still actually Ramadan. Because at least if they pray it a day late, Ramadan's finished. It's not, it's not as much as an issue as like now you're still fasting and they're like praying Eid. That's crazy.
So if someone who has weak eyesight goes out to sight them, but they have glasses, and their glasses, like when they wear the glasses, their eyesight's fine. Is it accepted from them?
Inshallah. I mean, as long as they have no issue with their eyesight with the glasses, inshallah. Any questions? Who's responsible for questions tonight? Not Ibrahim, obviously.
No, I don't feel like it.
Oh, you have one.
No.
It's actually
Just yeah, but mainly just ask ones that have like an emoji or
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, they put a hand.
Oh,
They
okay,
put
no
a
more
hand.
emoji with a hand, unless you can tell it's just a push. Okay. Like ask the very top one. The very top one is have a with a slow good push. Assalamu alaikum. Is it obligatory for women to cover her feet during prayer?
yes. She wears a garment that covers up her feet.
Is it obligatory for a woman to cover? Okay, what if the garment doesn't go past her feet, but she puts on socks?
Her feet are covered, inshallah. I mean, what's mentioned in the hadith is a garment that covers the feet. So, yeah.
If my dad consistently leaves the Fajr prayer and mocks the beard, is he in danger of being a kafir?
Very much. I mean, if he leaves the Fajr prayer, it means he doesn't pray it. I'm assuming that's what the person is asking. If he leaves off any prayer and doesn't pray it, that's enough to take a person out of Islam. Mocking anything from the deen. If he's mocking the beard because religious people, because people try to wear it to practice the sunnah, I mean, then he's in danger of leaving the deen. If he's just mocking the beard because maybe he just doesn't like it because it's a trend going on, something like that, But if he's doing it because of the deen, yes, that's very dangerous, very dangerous.
Once during a fast in Ramadan, the adhan was going off for Fajr, and the people around me told me to keep eating from the bowl. Would I need to repeat this fast?
What's that again?
Was during a fast in Ramadan, the adhan was going off for Fajr, and the people around me told me to keep eating from the bowl. Would I need to repeat this fast?
Nah, I mean, don't do it again. Inshallah. No. I mean, some people have opinion that based off of. I don't know if it's a narration. Because it's been a long time since I've seen this issue. But I remember some students in Damaj had the opinion that whatever you have in your hand, you finish it, even if the adhan's going off, and that's not correct. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is not an issue of hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Kulu washrabu hatta yatabayyana lakum al-khayt al-abyadu min al-khayt al-aswad min al-fajr." So kulu washrabu, eat and drink, hatta, until the white thread of fajr becomes distinct from the black thread of the night. So that means as soon as it becomes distinct, that you stop eating and you stop drinking. Period. That's it. So for the people to say, well, no, well, we continue, you stop. So, but if you're ignorant of that, then inshallah, there's no issue, inshallah.
So if you're like you take a bite, like you're in the middle of chewing, and then
No, you finish. I mean, yeah. Some of the people of the past will still spit it out, but I mean, I won't go to that level. You already swallow it and khalas, that's it. Yeah. But I mean, just I mean, we don't have those types of issues now because you have like a general idea. You can, because everything that they call the adhan based on now is on the chart, right? When they're gonna call the adhan, so when to stop eating. Like they're gonna call the adhan, let's say 5:50. 5:50, so okay, I'm gonna start to taper off. Like the way that we do it is we're already done eating 30 minutes before, so we can drink some water because we don't want to like the last thing that we did was eat, and then you're like thirsty all day. Most of the time we eat at like 2:00, way before. Like suhoor is just water.
With that, as Muslims living in the West, it's important for us to gain basic knowledge, but also have halal businesses. Don't you think that we should be working on making money too, but how to not get caught up in dunya too much due to this?
I mean, not everybody. What was the first part of the question?
That as Muslims living in the West, it's important for us to gain basic knowledge.
Well, what's that? What is that? Hain? What?
Hain, Hain.
Gain. Okay. Oh, it's a typo. Okay, so gain.
Basic knowledge. Also have to have halal businesses. Don't you think?
We need halal businesses. We need Muslim businesses. Otherwise, we won't be able to have communities. We need money in communities. I mean, and that's the whole thing. We're not going to have every single Muslim going out and seeking knowledge. But what we do say is that every single Muslim should at least get the knowledge that's binding upon them. Every Muslim has to fast. He should know the rulings and the legislation regarding fasting. Everybody has to pray. If you're a businessman and doing business, then you should sit down and you should study business. You should study like all the halal, haram business transactions so you don't fall into anything haram. At least get the knowledge that you need to function on a day-to-day basis as Muslim. Because like I said, not everybody's just going to be. And the thing is like, how can we have students of knowledge and people coming back and giving dawah if we don't have these Muslim businesses? Who's going to support them? Who's going to support them? So who's going to pay the imam salary? Who's going to pay the the electric bill in the masjid and stuff like that? Obviously we have to have businessmen, and so everybody works together, but don't leave off knowledge completely. You get knowledge, get as much knowledge as you can to what you don't fall into haram, inshallah.
So that we should be working on making money too. I think that's the question.
Yeah, of course.
And then also about how to not get caught up in the dunya too much.
I told you that was the biggest thing that I see. I was like, what happened?
She took my pen.
Huh?
She took my pen. She put it in my mouth.
Oh, that's a he.
Oh,
He just stole your pen.
that's okay.
He loves those pens, man.
It's okay.
We're not getting that one back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mujahid.
No, it's okay.
No, Mujahid. Mujahid. Yeah, Asad. Ta'al Habibi. No, because he doesn't even have it. He just took it and dropped it.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, you do that.
He took your pencil too?
I thought that was your miswak that he took.
أسد حبيبي شوف على الأرض شاولين سرق قلم حق الأخ وأخذه إلى غرفة ثانية. شوف على الأرض. شوفوا. Yeah, he just dropped. Is that it?
No, it was a big.
That's somebody else's pencil. Whose pencil is that?
No, I was using.
We got like he just. Oh my!
Yeah.
What's the next question? What's the question?
It was not how to get caught up in the dunya too much due to this.
Yeah, I mean, just you know, you make money, you do what you got to do. I've mentioned this before. Like that was the biggest regret that I had, is that I didn't learn how to like just be a businessman. You know, because now my family suffers now. You know, because having money and not having to rely on people and rely on it's a ni'mah. It's a big ni'mah. You know, because when you start having problems with bills, you can't focus on knowledge and everything. Is that it?
Yeah,
I can't say, I wouldn't say that you can't focus on knowledge, but it's very hard to focus on knowledge when you're hungry. You know, when you're hungry, when you can't, all you're thinking about is food and what you're gonna eat next. Then when you got a family, it's hard to focus on knowledge. So having means to like support your family and everything is a ni'mah. You have that means and do it, but don't put so much focus on that to where at the expense of your deen. You know, where you start to get behind in the deen. You should always try to learn something new, something of the deen every single day. You know, have a portion of the Quran that you read every day. It doesn't matter how caught up you get in business or studying in the dunya, trying to get some engineering degree or something. You know, you should always have time, to benefit in the deen, and practice the deen, inshallah.
So they quote an ayah from Surah Nisa. Certainly, in that case, you would be like them.
What's that?
Certainly, in that case, you will be like them. They're referring to when people are mocking the deen. Does that mean that the one who sits with those mocking the deen is a kafir if he doesn't leave? He sits there and
if he sits there in agreement with what they're doing, then he can fall into that category of leaving the deen, because he's even antum idan mithlahum, and you're just like them. So it's very dangerous. If somebody's mocking the deen, you get up, you leave. You can't speak up and you're too scared to speak up, just get up and leave. Just to get up and leave, But to sit there in the company of the people, no, it's very dangerous while they're doing that. Very dangerous.
I'm assuming if someone did do that, then how did they move on from? Because I'm assuming the question may have.
I mean, make Toba. You just make Toba. Make Toba and keep it moving. Inshallah.
Ustad, it never seemed like the Sahabas were worried about making a lot of money, but some of them did end up being very rich.
The ones that ended up being rich were the ones that weren't concerned about the wealth, though. A lot of the people that ended up becoming rich, like look at Abu Bakr, gave up all his wealth, and then the Prophet and taraktu lahum Allah wa Rasuluh. I left for them Allah and His Messenger. No money, no wealth or anything. So they weren't concerned about the wealth. They did businesses and they made sure that but their wealth was for the promotion of the deen and to further the deen. They didn't use their wealth for just personal benefit and extravagance. So again, it's not the issue of like you getting wealth. It's the issue now. If Allah gives you that, what are you going to do with it? And, that goes back to the issue about who's better. The faqir sabir or the ghani shakir. Whether the person who's like poor and patient, is he better, or the person who's rich and thankful and grateful for his wealth, who's better? And that's an argument that will never end. If you read Ibn al-Qayyim, you're going to think one way. You read Ibn al-Jawzi, you'll think another way. So it's an argument that's never ending. But the important thing is, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a person wealth, it's like the issue is not the wealth. So one, how did you get it? And number two, what do you do? What do you do with it? How are you just gonna, you don't need a BMW and a 3-story house and you only got 2 kids. You know, 12 bathrooms, 12 kitchens, right? 12 kitchens. The Kwani guy. Yeah, yeah. You don't need all that stuff. You don't need to live extravagantly. You know, you still, if if you have the money, you live, within means of like what you need, and then use that wealth for the promotion of the deen, not for the promotion of your own extravagance. Wife come to the masjid with a Gucci bag, like, well, come on, it's like, what is the world coming to?
Was a story in Kitab al-Tawheed that was reported by Ibn Abbas about Adam and Hawa and Shaitan threatening them to name their kid Abdul.
Nah, I mean that's a lot of. What's the question though?
Is it authentic?
It is a whole disagreement. Like, as far as it being Adam and Hawa, Allah.
So it's about naming their kid Abu.
Abdul Harith. Yeah, Abdul Harith. Yeah. Nah. I mean, the strongest opinion that's not authentic. Not being that it's Adam and Hawa. There's nothing mentioned in there about their names. So Allah knows best.
Gustav, due to my skin condition, it flares up randomly during the year, which causes my skin to hurt and bleed.
Because I mean, you gotta think about it, man. Adam alayhi salam, he got kicked out of Jannah because of that mistake, and cried for years and years and years about that mistake. Now he's gonna go back and obey the same entity that got him kicked out in the first place and name his child. Nah, I mean nah. That's nakara, right? That's munkar. I mean, so no. Go ahead.
Gustav, due to my skin condition, it flares up randomly during the year, which causes my skin to hurt and bleed. Is it permitted?
And whatever. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this deen easy for you, so you do the best. The most important thing is not, you don't have to scrub your arms anyways. Just the most important thing is to cover the entire body part when it's ghusl, when it's washing, that you cover the entire part with water. You have to do it gently. You do it gently. But the important thing is that what? You sprinkle the water on and you wipe it over, but the important thing is what? To cover the whole entire part with water. So, and then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wash it. Those the arms, what? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Different narrations. I mean, everybody's going to tell you, you got to wash it 3 times. Go read Bukhari, akhi. So, the thing is not how many times you wash it. It's not even how you wash it, but the important thing is making sure that the whole part is covered with water. Inshallah.
Gustav,
Hold on. Say what?
شيء واحد يعني مش متأكد 100% منه عند الموضوع يعني مثلا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول تمسح مثلا على الرجل أو اليد 3 مرات لو قصدي يعني مثلا
No, there's no مسح.
قصدي غسل
الغسل.
يعني مثلا اليد مثلا تغسل اليد كله مرة بعد تغسل كل من جديد مرتين بعد 3 مرات تمسح عليه يعني 3 مرات
3 مرات يعني تسكب عليه ماء 3 مرات. Yeah, because you gotta wipe and spread the water. تمسح. Yeah. Each time that you pour the water on is 1 time. Yeah.
Gustav, sometimes seeing the situation of Muslims/Islam in America makes me feel hopeless. Can you tell me realistically what should we be doing at an individual level/community level? What should men be focusing on, and what should the women be focusing on?
Spreading the truth. Learning the truth and spreading the truth. Learning the truth. Well, I mean, okay. Let's go back to the first page of Rasul Thalatha. All right. Because I mean, the best advice given by Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab in the first page of Rasul Thalatha. What do you say?
It was learn knowledge and acting upon that knowledge, spreading that knowledge, then patience and perseverance.
Yeah, so he said, "Alam rahimakallah, أنه يجب على كل مسلم ومسلم تعلم هذه الأربع المسائل." These 4 issues. الأولى العلم وهو معرفة الله ومعرفة النبي ومعرفة الدين الإسلام بالأدلة. He said the first one is that knowledge, and that's knowing knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowledge of the Prophet, and the knowledge of Islam with evidence. He said athani, and then the second issue is the acting upon it, implementing it. He said athalitha ad-da'watu ilayhi, and then the third one is what? Calling the people to it. والرابعة what? الصبر على الأذى فيه, is having patience with all the harm that comes with the people that go against you. That's the best advice. You know? So, I mean, that's what we do. First, we learn the knowledge, we implement the knowledge, and your implementation of the knowledge is dawah. It is dawah. We're learning. We're sitting, you know, in the other live stream. We're doing al adab al mufrad. Could you imagine if all of us as Muslims in America, if we implemented half of what we learned in al adab al mufrad, how much dawah we would be giving on a daily basis? Huh? Could you imagine that? Like, just we wouldn't even have to say a word, akhi. Just our actions would be the dawah. Just acting on half of what we learned so far from Al Adab al Mufrad. Not half of the whole entire book, just half of what we learned so far. Just imagine. I mean, I would say if we acted on 1/5 as Muslims of what we've learned so far, that we would probably, like, Islam would probably spread like wildfire in America. So, and then of course, you know, calling the people. Is right now, I was gonna post this on Telegram. Like I second guessed it and I said, people are gonna take this the wrong way. So let me leave it. So because it's better, some things are better when you say them than they are when you write them. Because at least when you talk, you can kind of like one, you have your, how can I say this? Yeah, your tone, your voice, you know, and you can also explain more than when you write. See, obviously writing is mainly toneless, you know, but unless a person's just a very good writer, you know, but so sometimes I've written things when people are like angry, I'm like, huh? I'm not angry, but that's how they read it, you know, they read into it that anger. But the whole thing is like the whole issue about giving dawah is, again, I think we might have talked about this before, but whatever, we do it again. Watch him. He goes up and cleans this cat, and then he starts biting her. Then she attacks back. Then he starts licking her again. Then he bites her again. He'll bite her face. So funny having 3 cats. But anyways, like if we sit there and call, like we go out to the streets and we're like, we're gonna start giving dawah and we're gonna call the kuffar to Islam. All right, cool, right? Nice, right? What environment in the masajid are we gonna bring these kuffar to? Are we gonna bring them to an environment that's gonna be conducive to them staying in Islam, learning Islam, becoming good Muslims? No, we're bringing them to an environment of a country club environment in the masjid of like, let's just hang out and just be Muslims, but we're going to learn nothing about Islam. You're going to sit here for 15 years, 20 years, and you're not even going to know the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. You're not going to know the hadith of Jibril. You're not going to know anything. But we're going to hang out and be Muslim and eat, you know, shawarma and hummus and all this type of stuff. And we're going to eat with our hands. And we're going to all eat together. But that's it. That's it. You're not going to learn anything. And then you probably end up within 6 to 8 months back out on the streets with your old friends because why? You found nothing of what you were looking for. You were looking for this change, this life-changing thing, and you didn't change nothing. You just went around and hung out in a country club called an Islamic Center, and that's it. So again, what are we calling the people to? What environment are we bringing the people to? We got to fix our own communities first. Because you can go out and give dawah and bring the people to these Islamic centers and these, you know, these crackhead imams, you know, they're just like basically teaching complete foolishness and nonsense. He's not on the ball, man. He's not. You're fired. You're fired.
I got it. I still got
You
it.
give it back to my son.
Yeah.
Huh?
Give me another chance.
No, he's retired. So I mean, that's what we got to fix our houses first, man. We got to fix our communities. And like I mentioned before, you know, our communities are like irreparable. Like the damage is like, because everything now is not about Islam. It's not about the promotion of Islam. Who aren't qualified to be in the positions they are in the masajid, making decisions in our communities, who don't want to what? Relinquish their positions in the masjid. So therefore, the best thing for us to do is go and start our own communities and what? And do away with this issue. You know, and obviously we're going to have our own problems, but at least they're our problems, not somebody like, not other, you know, like walking in the masjid and you got like the board of directors, you know, you got 5 or 6 people on the board of directors and none of them follow the sunnah. All of them hate. That's the only thing that they can all agree on, is that they're all people who call to the sunnah, but they themselves are all on different beliefs. You know, one's an Ash'ari, one's a Deobandi, one's what is it? What is it? Brevely? How do you say it? I can never say these guys' names. One's a Brevely. One thinks Allah is above the Arsh, and the other person thinks Allah is in the McDonald's. I mean, and how, you know, then you got another guy who doesn't even pray except for Yom al-Jum'ah. You know, so he just comes there just to, like, because there's money involved in the masjid. So what are we gonna fix, Akhi? So, well, I mean, there's no fixing something like that because it's an irreparable situation. You know, we start our own communities, and then we give the dawah to the people, and we have an environment where the people can come. I remember when I was in Jacksonville, these dudes are coming off the streets. These guys got tattoos on, braids in their head. You can smell weed on them coming to the masjid. And I'm like, and then the brothers go and take him to the Pakistani imam. No offense to Pakistanis. I love Pakistani people, but it's like, this dude he's from Pakistan. It's like, if you're a Pakistani, you grew up in America and you know how to deal with Americans, but you take a dude, he's from Pakistan. You understand? He don't know about these dudes on the street. Why would you take this guy in there to him so he can give them dawah? See, these are our people. And we should be dealing with, we should set the environment, because again, he goes to that imam, guess what's going to happen? He's going to become Muslim, but he's going to continue having the braids in his head. He's going to continue coming to the masjid smelling like weed. He's going to continue doing all the type of stuff that he's doing. And, maybe in 3 months, he's got another tattoo of, Allahu Akbar tattooed on the other side of his neck. Yeah, I've seen it. Brother gets tattooed, mashallah, over his eyebrow. Yeah, come on. But that's because of why? Would we allow that type of stuff to happen? Nah, because you come into Islam, you're supposed to be becoming better. But these dudes, they don't care about that. They care about their position and keeping their position. They don't care about the people. They could care less about the people. And in the end, it's not somebody that he would ever marry his daughter to anyways. So what does he care, right? And this was the same guy that's running around saying that Allah is in McDonald's. So, what happened? Check it.
It's back.
Huh?
It's back.
Check it. Oh, that was before you took it out. Put it back in and see.
Yeah, it's back.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's good.
Wait. There's gonna be a click when he puts it back in.
It already did that.
Nice. All right, khalas. Inshallah, they can hear now.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, what's the next question?
I have a question.
Huh.
So I just figured maybe it's a good time to ask this in case people wonder this, because in between when they pray Tarawih and they had to give their talk in between, they do 4 and then give their talk and then finish. Is it permissible?
No.
It's a
Stand up and leave. What are you talking about? Giving whenever they give a talk during Tarawih?
Yeah.
That's bid'ah. Bid'ah. You get up and leave. Like, go out and get something to drink and come back when they're finished. But don't stay when they do that. What happened? What does Yahya give a talk in Ramadan during the
Last Ramadan,
He did it though.
the guy at the place we used to go to had me do one that I didn't know.
Oh, you gave a talk.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. He told me to go up and give one.
And you said yes?
I didn't know.
He was still like, this was like his second Ramadan. He did.
That's what I'm saying. He's like a new Muslim. Like, why would you let a new Muslim just
That
get
was
up?
like the whole point. He wanted like youth and new Muslims to give the talks. I don't know.
What are you gonna talk about? Cheetos? Like, what are they?
Basically, yeah, I don't even remember what it was about. Yeah.
So you got 3 flavors of Cheetos and the flaming. I don't advise you to have flaming hot Cheetos for sahur. As a new Muslim, I can attest to that's not a good idea. Oh wow! All right. Well, you got your excuse, but if you do it again,
What would you respond to Mr. says Waikilo Yasser Khadi, who said, I don't encourage the youngsters to go and study Islam anymore as a default, and that out of every 10,000 should go, and that we need successful lawyers, politicians, etc.
I would advise the Muslim youth to stop listening to crackheads like Yasser Qadhi. That's it. Charlatans who went out and after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them to sit in the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and learn his deen in Medina, to go out and then go study with the kuffar, shave off, trim off his beard and start apologizing for all the stuff that he said about the Rafida. Sit there and work with the enemies of this deen so he could promote his nonsense. Stop listening to people like him. That's what I advise the youth. But as far as like we need, the Sahaba in their time, did they sit there and say, well, we need all this garbage that Yasser Qadhi's talking about? Yasser Qadhi. Did the Sahaba, did the people, all the best generations of people, was this their mentality? No, they went out and sought knowledge. Now the reality is that, like I said, not everybody's going to seek knowledge, but it is incumbent upon every Muslim to have enough knowledge that he can practice the deen, what he needs to practice on a daily basis. Not everybody's going to become the next Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. That's just not going to happen. But we need as many people going out trying as possible. All that other stuff is all the necessities of any society will always be taken care of. It's the dunya. You're always going to have people that are going to see a need and they're going to find a way to fill that need to make money. That's just going to happen regardless. If we need engineers in a Muslim country, or we need architects, you're going to find people that are going to do that. That's just natural. But to sit here and encourage the youth to go out and do that, that's hypocrite. That's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy. Encourage the people to go out and study the deen. If they're not successful and they want to go become an architect, let them go become an architect. We need architects. We need doctors. We don't need lawyers. What do we need lawyers for? So they can so they can sit there and give protect the Taghut. Probably needs to go back and study La ilaha illallah, because obviously he doesn't understand the Shahada anymore. Allah musta'an.
Could you clarify the meaning of this hadith in Bukhari? Text is kind of small. Inna ummatun ummiyya la naktubu wa la nahsubu shahr hakadha wa hakadha. We are an illiterate nation. We don't write nor know accounts.
Yeah, because at that time, they didn't have an official writing system amongst the Arabs. So they were considered al-ummat al-ummiyya. That's what the people would consider them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran. He said, in Surah Al-Baqarah, he said, وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِقِنْطَارٍ يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِدِينَارٍ لَا يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ إِلَّا مَا دُمْتَ عَلَيْهِ قَائِمًا ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا لَيْسَ عَلَيْنَا فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ سَبِيلٌ. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِقِنْطَارٍ. A qintar is like a small amount, very small amount of money. If you were to trust him with a qintar, يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ, like he'll fulfill his trust with it. He'll give it back to you. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِدِينَارٍ. But if you were to trust him with a gold, like a gold coin, لَا يُؤَدِّهِ إِلَيْكَ, he will never return it to you. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا, and this is because they said, لَيْسَ عَلَيْنَا فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ سَبِيلٌ, that there is no pathway for the Ummiyin, meaning the Arabs. So this is obviously this ayah is talking about the little hats, because they look down on the Arabs and they say, well, we'll just take their money, and what are they going to do to us? What are they going to do to us? But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word what they use, al-ummiyin. So, and this is what he means as far as the ummat al-ummiyya is referring to the Arabs. That we don't get into all this calculation and all this. Like basically the month is either 29 or 30. That's it. And that's the meaning of the hadith. And Allah knows best.
Can two people be in very different locations in the city where they sight the moon, two different states?
Yeah, why not? Where they sight the moon at the same time. They can sight the moon in the same time if they're in the same area where the sun sets at the same time and the moon comes out at the same time. But obviously, like we're in California, and they're at the same time, because North Carolina is 3 hours behind us. They were going to sight the moon. They're going to sight it first. We decided 3 hours later. And obviously, even us in Texas or like even Nevada, is Nevada in a different time zone?
Yeah, Nevada's an hour ahead. Nevada, Colorado, they're like in the Rocky
Yeah, okay, they're in the mountain time zone.
Mountain time zone, yeah.
Mountain, yeah. Is Nevada on it's different time zone? Nevada. Nevada. What did he say? Who? He said that or I said that? I said Nevada, right? I didn't say Nevada.
I think I just copied. Yeah, I think I just copied.
Nevada. Who cares? Tomato.
Yeah.
When did you now become the source of like how to say a word now? Let's go back to the original and inhabitants of the land and let's see what they used to call it. Let's see, because we say China. It's not called China with Chinese people. And
China.
they don't call it China at all.
China.
They don't call it China, nothing. Japan, it's not called Japan with Japanese people. That's the China. No, that name actually came from the Chinese. They actually took the word Japan from what the Chinese used to call them. So where are we getting all this information from anyway? Where does Nevada? Well, who speaks? What language is this? Let's go back to the original.
I remember I was driving through Vegas.
You ran into a group of what? What is that? Who?
They were like green. I never heard of them until like I saw them on the freeway. I was like, who are these guys now?
I've never heard of them.
They're like the Hells Angels like rivals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Careless about any of them. All right.
Yeah.
Did you drive in front of them?
No, I was behind them.
You didn't speed up and try to get in front of them? Come on, man. It's an exhilarating experience, man. You know, you really start to value your life when you do stuff like that, man.
If someone wants to go to a professional school, is it okay for them to go to a mixed university and then a mixed professional school?
What was that again?
Ustad, is it okay for them to go to a mixed university, professional school?
No, it's not permissible to go into a mixed school.
Oh, I guess it was follow up. If they take interest-based loans to pay for these, how can they repay if they've already graduated or are now working? The loans are sometimes $500,000 with 5% interest.
I mean, that's something that's on you. If you've done that, I mean, it's not permissible to take those loans in the first place. But I'm almost done. Like, yeah. I mean, if you don't pay the money back, then you're not gonna. They're gonna bother you until you die, and then when you die, they're gonna start bothering your family. So I mean, you took the money, you paid. I mean, it's not permissible for you to pay back the interest, but the problem is that you've already signed the contract, and they're not going to let you escape just by paying back the principal. You're going to have to pay whatever they tell you. So you're just going to have to get rid of that. However, whatever. Yeah. So along with time.
Is it true that if a NAS comes that the
If a what?
a NAS?
If a
NASS.
a NAS? What is it?
A NAS?
How do you spell it?
NASS.
NASS. Like NAS, maybe people. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Or maybe it's N. Maybe is that what they mean? Like N.
I don't know. We keep reading it.
You guys are slow.
Oh, NOS. Is it true that if a NOS person comes void if he does suck? It's such and such. Does it mean that the action is kufr?
If the deed becomes void.
We read it. Is it true that if a NOS comes that the deeds of a person becomes void if he does such and such?
If all of his deeds become void, then that means it's kufr. Because that's habut al-a'mal. So if all of his deeds become void, that's kufr. But then you got other issues, like for example, like a shirk al-asghar, a riyah. If a riyah goes into an action, then that action itself becomes void. That doesn't take a person out of Islam. But if nas comes to show that all of the person's actions are void, then that's where the whole issue about leaving off Salat al-Asr, So that's where the topic came about, that is in regards to like leaving off one Salat. Because the narration of the person leaving off Asr and as all of these become void. Allah knows best.
Ustad, can someone who works 9 to 5 become a scholar? I don't want to die knowing only the basics after tasting the sweetness of knowledge.
Anybody can become a scholar, whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises. That's something with Allah. That's not It's nothing that I mean. Obviously, as a human being, we have to put in the work, but that's from Allah. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts that understanding. You know, it's just like like Shafi'i rahimahullah when he went to the Waqir. When he talked about this line of poetry when he said Shakawtu ila Waqir so فأرشدني إلى ترك المعاصي فقال إن علم نور ونور الله لا يهدى لعاصي. Where he went to Waqir and he said that he was complaining about his memory. He said I complained to Waqir about my bad memory, and he guided me to leaving off sins because he said فإن هذا دين فإن هذا علم نور, that verily that this knowledge is light, this is nur. And what's the difference between a nur and boat? Nah, we'll go into this later. We'll go into this later because this is too much right now. But so he said, فإن هذا علم نور, and the light from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this nur that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives is not given to a sinful person. It's not given to a sinful person. So that's from Allah. It's not about you working 9 to 5. I mean, if you're working 9 to 5, you're avoiding sins, you're doing halal. I've seen people like when the Sheikh Najmi, rahimahullah, when he came to Damaj to visit us after the death of Sheikh Muqbil, rahimahullah, and he sat up there and like before Sheikh Najmi spoke, one of his students spoke. And one of his students was a doctor in a hospital in Saudi Arabia. And he's a sheikh. He sat with Sheikh Najmi for a long, like more than a decade, way more than a decade, probably 2 decades. He sat with Sheikh Najmi, and he was a sheikh in his own time. He came up and he spoke first before the sheikh, and the people were saying like, this guy, he's a doctor, he's an actual doctor in a hospital. So I mean, just because a person has a job and working, it's what you do with your time. If you really love knowledge, you're going to make time for it. You're going to benefit whatever you can. That you're not going to probably benefit to the level of a person who does that all. That's all he does. It's like, for example, easy an example for a lot of Americans to understand is like trying to become a fighter, right? I always use these examples of like fighting because it's similar, what it takes, So you're working all day and you're training at night to become a fighter, but this dude just trains all day. Who's going to be better? That dude that trains all day, he's going to rip that dude apart. The dude that just trains at night. But that dude that trains at night is going to rip apart the guy that what? Doesn't train at all. You understand? So it doesn't mean that you're not going to get anything. You're going to get something. Now, you're not going to be like, just sitting around. That's all he does all day long, 15, 16, 17 hours a day. He's in the books. But you can still obtain a very high level of success in this deen, inshallah. So no doubt.
Ustad, do you plan to continue durus in Ramadan or stop them like some people do?
I don't know if these guys just want to go around eating sambusas at different masjids. Sambusa in Yemen, but he's gonna say samosa. Indians and Pakistanis is samosa. Yeah, that's why Yemenis have sambusas and Somalis have sambusas.
Well, like even like in a lot of the restaurants around here, you can't find samosas with meat.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I've never.
Did I tell you about the time that? Did I tell you about our special sambusas in Yemen that we used to make for the people? We made one time, man. We got some pepperoni, some cheese, and some pizza sauce. And I told my wife, I said, because my wife used to make her mother's Somali. So the Somalis, they make the sambusas, they do everything by hand from scratch. So she made up the wrappers for the sambusas. And then we just, she cooked up the pepperoni and mixed it with the sauce and then put the cheese, into the wrappers with the pepper and then fried them up. Yeah, I invited I can't remember how many people were invited over to my house that day. So many brothers, like quite a few brothers. This is because it's Ramadan, so a lot of people, they come down to Sana. I had a whole crew in the house. We had a stack this high. We literally built a pyramid of these sambusas. But we also had meat and rice. Guess what did not get eaten that night? The meat and rice did not get touched. Sambusa's gone. They ate those. They said, this is the best thing I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, yeah. My family won't know now because they're not going to get the taste of it. But yeah. At least my family had a lot of meat and rice that night. But yeah, we used to do that like every year. Pizza sambusas. Man, if I knew how to make those wrappers right now, ooh.
I like the cream cheese ones.
Yeah, that's a Yemeni thing. Trust me, if we had those pizza ones, you'd be,
What about egg?
huh?
What about egg?
Nah, the ones I hate the most, that one I just don't like is the tuna ones.
Food? I never.
They put tuna in some of them, and I'm like, dude, that's like, come on, man. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam called him, man, ghashana falaysa minna. You know, whoever cheats us and deceives us is not from us. You can't go sticking fish up in there and not telling us. Because I'm thinking I'm about to bite into meat and then I taste fish. Akhi, I'm not eating at your house again, man. I mean, it tell me like, okay, these are fish, these are, you know, so I'm mentally, but when I go and bite into it and taste tuna, I'm like, nah, dude, that's trickery, that's deception. Nah. Whenever we invited people to our house, we had like sambusas that were so full of meat, the meat was popping out the sides of them. You know, like you're gonna be thirsty the next day. You will be so thirsty. You know. But anyways, next question.
So are you,
Before I start
what are you planning?
remembering Yemen and getting depressed, huh?
Are you planning to continue the lessons?
Yeah, if you guys aren't running around chasing after sambusas. You know, going from this message, if we have the time to do it, yes, inshallah, no problem. We'll do it. We'll have the class, inshallah. I don't know how regular that will be, you know, but yeah, we'll do what we can do, inshallah.
This question's related.
At least on Fridays and Saturdays, yeah. No, for sure, inshallah. Huh?
Would it be better for us to reduce seeking ilm in Ramadan and focus on reciting Quran, or is there no basis for reducing seeking ilm?
I mean, we never stopped seeking knowledge in Dimash. Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, we still kept all the lessons kept going. But obviously, you should give way more attention to the Quran. You know, attention and the main focus should be on the Quran. So, but that doesn't mean like if you got lessons, you're doing stuff that you just stop everything. No, I mean all the lessons used to stop in the match except for the lessons with the sheikh. So like, if you had like lessons with an actual student, then a lot of the times they would stop. Not always, but most of the times, because obviously standing up at night and praying at night in the match was that was a task of its own. Actually, that you're gonna be sleeping all day, so we like a lot of those classes would stop, but the classes with the sheikh never stopped, never. So you got something going on that's continue, just keep going, just keep doing it, but try to focus more on the Quran, inshallah.
Did any of the ulama mention an estimate of how long the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam slept per night?
Nobody's gonna know that. I mean, you can do a calculation based on. I mean, he used to get up in the last thuluth of the night. So, but I mean, when did he actually go to sleep? After dealing with all the issues with his family? I mean, Allah knows best. Obviously, in the summertime in Saudi Arabia, time for Isha is here. So it's not like like here, like in the summertime, like Salat al-Isha is like 10:30 at night. It's never like that in Saudi. It's never gonna be that late in Saudi. So even in the summertime, you can still get to bed early, pretty much. You can still get to bed by 10.
Is that because they're closer to the equator?
I guess so. Yeah, because it's not like a drastic change, except for Fajr. Like when I was in Jubail in Saudi Arabia, which is on the east coast of Saudi Arabia, yeah, man, Fajr was like we had to get up at 3:30 just to pray Fajr.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Seattle, sundown was like at 9 p.m. I was up in Washington.
Yeah, like the Isha is pretty standard. Like it doesn't really go up too high. It does go up in the summer, but it's Fajr like just drops. Like in the summertime in the Saudi, yeah, Fajr just like I'm talking like 3:30. I'm like, one more question, man, because we gotta roll out.
If one owes money to people, should they be donating money to people or paying off their debts?
No, pay off your debt first. Pay off your debt first. That's your first obligation, because if you die, you still. That debt is still connected with you up until your death. So that's a serious issue. Pay your debt off first, and then you start worrying about other people after you fulfilled your obligations with the money that you actually owe somebody. Don't be that person that borrows money from a person and say, oh man, I ain't got the money right now, but you got new Jordans on. No, you're over there donating money to people, but you don't give the money back to the person you owe. No, get your debts done first and then And then whatever you can donate after that, then do what you can do, inshallah. And Allah knows best way. Allahumma subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.